58,000. In my household, could be the number of chocolate chip cookies that go through my household in a year with 5 kids. But that's not it either. Most of you probably were in Allendale a few weeks ago for the Vietnam Wall, the traveling memorial, and 58,000 is the number of names on that wall. A jobless Vietnam vet had visited the wall originally in 1982 in Washington, D.C. He had no money, no job, but he borrowed the funds to get there. He expected to be disappointed in the wall. The media had been hard on it and called it, what, a black something, a flash across where it was sitting. But anyway, he expected to be dissatisfied with the wall. But instead of being dissatisfied, I never asked anybody if you can hear me okay.
I'm not sure your mic's on.
Inspired. He wanted all people to be able to share this experience that he had, this the power that he felt in this wall. So he and some friends had raised some money. They had $2,500 between them, but they managed to raise $40,000 to build a half-size replica of the wall to take around the country. Now it's in its third incarnation. And it's got a sister wall as well, and they travel all over the country. And so this man had achieved his vision. And my question is, what is the purpose of the wall? It was to honor the veterans that gave their lives for the country. But as in the case of the man inspired to build the replicas of the wall, to share it around the country, the wall meant more. It was a witness, it was a testimony to those that follow. The wall is a testimony both collectively and of the 58,000 names, as well as individually for each one. Most of us probably know somebody that's got a name on the wall or a story connected with the name on the wall. In my case, my step-grandfather's son. He was 22 years old when he earned his right to be on the wall. He had met his father in Hawaii during R&R with 4 months left of service remaining. He spoke of being scared, of wanting to quit, of wanting to run. His father encouraged him to go back and finish what he'd started, and so he returned to duty. He was stationed in the jungle, and with 2 months of service left, his appointed time came. The camp guards were hot and tired, and therefore they went down over a slope. They found some shade and started smoking cigarettes. When the guards were gone, the North Vietnamese rose up and attacked. He was shot in the head and killed instantly. He left a testimony of duty and honor upon that wall. Do Christians have a wall? The Christian wall could easily be said to be Hebrews chapter 11, the faith chapter. I apologize for the confusing bulletins. In the bulletins it says we're going to be talking about undercover Christians and in Matthew and in Timothy, and that's what I wanted to preach, but God said I'm going to Hebrews. So, not being silly, and learning to be obedient over the years, this morning we are going to Hebrews. Now, for those just interested in a side note, in Bible trivia, Hebrews is the one book that gives justification for a man making the coffee in the morning. So ladies, you can share this with your husbands so they make the coffee in the morning. It's the book of Hebrews. If you turn to the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 1 and 2, we'll look at these scriptures. Now this is a 2-point sermon. I'd love to have 3 points. Any of you that know Adrian Rogers have listened to Adrian Rogers, I love him. Can you make a 3-point sermon out of anything? I think you can make a 3-point sermon out of John 11:35, Jesus wept. You preach that one verse, I think, could make a 3-point sermon, and everything would start with the same letter and probably even rhyme. But the Scripture says this is a 2-point message, so that's what I'm going to preach. So we're going to look at the points here that we are to repent and we are to run. So I'm going to sit, if you'll forgive me, but if you all stand, we'll read in honor of God's word, we'll read these passages. Therefore, we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Thank you. You may be seated. I'm going to pray if you now allow me to. Our God and our Father, hallowed be your name, Lord. I just come before you this morning with a special petition that you would let me bring your word to these, your people this morning, Lord. Give me, you know I'm weak, Lord. You know I cannot do it in my own power, Lord. So I pray that you will be with me and give me the strength. I pray, Lord, that if there's anything that I've done against you, any sin that I've committed, knowingly or unknowingly, Lord, that you would forgive me of that sin this morning, Lord, and allow me to be a place where you can work. I love you, Lord, and I just ask that these things be done through your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. All right. So we're surrounded by this great cloud of witnesses. So who are these witnesses? Well, we can go back into chapter 11 and look and see who these witnesses are. We can read in verse 4. By faith Abel offered to God a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, through which he obtained witness that he was righteous, God testifying of his gifts, and through it being dead still speaks. Verse 5, 11:5. By faith Enoch was taken away so that he did not see death, and was not found because God had taken him. For before he was taken, he had this testimony, that he pleased God. Verse 7, by faith Noah, being divinely warned of things not yet seen, moved with godly fear, prepared an ark for the saving of his household, by which he condemned the world, and became heir of the righteousness, which is according to faith. Verse 8, by faith Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to the place which he would receive an inheritance, and he went out, not knowing where he was going. Verse 11, by faith Sarah. Verse 17, by faith Abraham. Verse 20, by faith Isaac. Verse 21, by faith Jacob. Verse 22, by faith Joseph. Verse 23, by faith Moses. Verse 31, by faith Rahab. Verse 32, by faith Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, the prophets. Verse 35b, others were tortured, not accepting deliverance, that they might obtain a better resurrection. Still others had a trial of mockings and scourgings, yes, and of chains and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn in two, they were tempted, they were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts and mountains, and dens and caves and earth. These are the names on the Christian wall. These are not all the names by a long shot. I think of those that earned the right to put their name on the wall hundreds of years ago. You have John Bunyan, an inspiring man with an inspiring life. He was put in jail for long periods for his faith, but yet he wrote Pilgrim's Progress in jail in terrible conditions. And it's #2 best-selling book in history, right behind the Bible. And it has inspired just a tremendous amount of people through the years. I think of those that earned the right to put their names on the wall more recently. I went to seminary with a young couple and went to church with them as well. Didn't know them well, but did know them. And they had a calling to go to the mission field. And they did so. They graduated from seminary and they went to Iraq and served in the mission field. And they were not there very long. I don't remember how long. It was a very short time. And the vehicle they were riding in got hit by gunfire, and he was killed. And she was left wounded in pretty poor condition and a widow. And she came back to the United States to the hospital, and she recovered, but she just maintained a testimony the entire time of the goodness of God. So he certainly earned a name on the wall, and she will have in her own time. I think on a more personal note, of my wife's grandmother that underwent cancer. And I know she suffered greatly, and was just under terrible tribulation during this time. Terrible pain, suffering, and yet she maintained a wonderful testimony of the love of God. And I was a very weak and poor Christian at the time, so she was certainly a personal witness to me. And I know she earned her place on the Christian wall. Her name is on the Christian wall. I think the people that are still alive that have not yet earned the right to put their name on the wall, but they're a faithful and bold witness to Christ. I think of a seminary professor I had. I was thinking I was having a rough first year in seminary, but he told some of his testimony during class. And he was doing construction work. He fell from a high place and broke his back, but yet he was able to continue his studies on a limited basis and continue that work. And then after that, he contacted some sort of wasting disease. And the doctors never did figure out what it was, but it just caused his body to go down to nothing. Very weak, very frail, and they never did figure it out. He came out of it and recovered, but he never stopped. And it has certainly been a testimony to me that if God gives you a calling, and God gave him a calling to go to seminary, and if God gives you a calling, he does not change that call. Now, in my difficulties that I've had, I had people that encouraged me to quit seminary, and encouraged me just to go home, encouraged me to just take it easy, I guess, and do nothing. But that wasn't God's plan. God's plan was for me to go to seminary. God's calling on my life was to go to seminary, so I went to seminary, and God allowed me the strength to do that. So he was certainly a living testimony to me in that. Therefore, we can look at the saints that came before us for strength, for motivation as we repent, and for courage as we carry on the race. And again, those are the points of our message, is repent and run. We look to the witnesses. One thing we need to be careful when we're looking at this passage of the witnesses, the great cloud of witnesses, is that we need to keep some things in mind, so we don't fall into the traps that many people fall in. One, we're looking at the witnesses. They're not looking at us. We're looking at them. We don't pray to the dead. We don't talk to the dead. And anything that we learn from the lives of others, we must make sure it stands up to Scripture. So we want to keep those things in mind. We look to the witnesses. They don't look to us. We don't pray to the dead. We don't talk to the dead. We just learn from their lives, and and anything that we do learn must stand up to Scripture. Now, with the example so clearly illustrated from chapter 11 in mind, Hebrews 12:1 tells us we can lay aside every weight and the sin that so easily ensnares us. Now, the New Testament word that Luke used here for lay aside literally means set aside like a suit of clothes. Now, that would be nice if it was that simple. That laying aside every weight of the sin that ensnares us, it would be as easy as laying aside a suit of clothes. And the great thing is it is. It is just that easy. The word Luke uses here for weight simply indicates something that's large and bulky. Now the sin mentioned here could represent any sin, all sin, but Luke writes with the definite article here, the sin. So that would indicate to us that he's talking about something particular, a particular sin. And in context of Hebrews 11 and 12, the only thing that he could be referring to is the sin of unbelief. Through the witness of others getting rid of the weight upon us, as well as their sin, should be as easy as shedding our clothes and putting on another. It's just as we'll do, we can do it just as easily now as we will in the future when we shed this earth suit that we wear and receive our glorified bodies. Why should we care about getting rid of this weight and the sin? Luke tells us it ensnares us and prevents us running with endurance. I keep saying, as Luke, I'm a proponent of Luke writing Hebrews, so that might be a rarity, but so you'll get confused. I think Dr. Luke wrote Hebrews. So why should we care about getting rid of the weight and the sin? It ensnares us, according to Luke, and prevents us from running with endurance. Now, in the days that Luke lived, the word he used for ensnares simply meant anything that was an obstruction or a hindrance. And when I think of being obstructed or hindered, I think of a deer season years ago back in college. And I was coming back home from a long day of poor hunting, and I was coming up to a T intersection on a gravel road. And there was a beautiful buck standing out there just across the fence in the pasture. And so I did exactly what I wasn't supposed to do. I stopped and shot it. I didn't shoot it, but I shot at it. But I stopped and went across the fence and looked, no blood trail. I decided to follow it a little ways anyway. So it was getting to be dusk and a little bit dark, and I followed it out of this little pasture and through a tree row and across, falling down the fence, and I got to be where, man, it was getting hard to walk. I was just getting harder and harder. I couldn't get my feet to move. And then snap! I was in a hot wire fence. The low one that he set out for hogs, I guess. But I don't know how far I had that sucker stretched out before it hit me. But they got me several more times before I could start moving. And got me a lot more times before I got back there and put her out of it. I was ensnared. I was certainly obstructed and hindered. So that is what comes to mind for me. in this passage. But it's vital that we prepare well if we're going to run well. The word Luke used, the New Testament word that Luke used for race is agon in the Greek, and that's the word we get agony from. And that's the word he used for race. Running a race would certainly be an agony for me, now any race, but even for one that is prepared well, to run well, that is strong, the Christian race is difficult. And Luke tells us we need to prepare well for it. It's a tough, grueling race if we're out to win. I don't think a lot of Christians are out to win. They are satisfied with being saved and willing to sit and soak afterwards. They're not ready to get out and live a strong, victorious life. Just simply satisfied to accept salvation. And I don't think that's certainly the case in this church. Take this time to tell you that my wife and I have certainly appreciated the help that you provided us. And it's been very meaningful to me and my wife. But most Christians are simply satisfied to accept salvation, not to live victorious lives at all. Getting rid of the weight, Luke says, that obstructs us, and the sin of unbelief gives us the ability to run the race with endurance, and we can maintain a belief, or we can maintain a course of action, and we can do this in the face of opposition. As we look at verse 2, we can bring some of this into perspective of looking unto Jesus Christ. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2, looking unto Jesus Christ. Now, in the New Testament times, the language being used for looking referred to directing your attention on someone or something without distraction. Focus is the key to any sporting event. If you're on the baseball diamond and your attention is on the hot dog vendor up in the stands, and you're on second base, and you've got somebody running towards you, and your attention's up there on that hot dog vendor, chances are you're going to get hit in the head. If you're running a race and your attention is someplace on the, you've been focusing running, and all of a sudden something to the side catches your attention, what's going to happen? You're liable to trip and fall and skin your nose up. And if we lose our focus, we're not racing to beat all the others. We're not racing to win. In the Christian life, if we can keep our eyes on Jesus and focus on Jesus, looking at Jesus, we won't stumble and we won't fall. Hebrews 12:2 says that Jesus is the author of our faith. He is the originator of our faith. And he is the pioneer of our faith. Looking back at chapter 11, Jesus originated the faith of Abel, of Enoch, of Noah, of Abraham, of Sarah, and many others. Those are just to name a few. But Jesus is our chief example of faith. Jesus is also the finisher of our faith, the perfecter of our faith. He didn't quit. He didn't stumble. He didn't fall. He maintained a perfect race until he could go to the Father and say, "It is finished." Why did Jesus run the race? The same reason that you and I run the race. The joy set before us. Why face persecution now for glory later? Face persecution now, receive glory later. Jesus is exalted, and now he sits at the right hand of his Father. Our goal is to stand before God on the Bema seat and hear him say, "Well done, good and faithful servant." To do that, we must please the Father now. Reward comes later when our names Join the Christian wall of faith. Hebrews 11:6 says, "But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him." If you want those words, "Well done, good and faithful servant," if you need a closer walk with Jesus, Luke told us how. Look to the great cloud of witnesses that came before on how to live a victorious Christian life. Repent of the great weight that you are carrying and the sin of unbelief in your heart. Focus your eyes upon Jesus, and in the words of Winston Churchill, never, 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 never quit. Now, if we can sing a hymn of invitation.